just want to thank everyone for coming to join us tonight with our AMA with ShadowFi here, Variegate, powered by Rocket Fi. Today is Tuesday, September 13th, 8:06 p.m. And currently, right now, we're looking at a fancy price of 277 for BNB right now. So just a pretty rough day overall for the market. As usual, this AMA is being recorded, so anything you hear on here should not be taken as financial advice, and as usual, do your own research. Just want to start this off by saying thanks again, Taeris, and everyone else from obviously ShadowFi for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. I know I listened to your previous discussions on your Telegram, obviously involving everything with ShadowFi and the relaunch of the product, but obviously I want to make sure that you guys get to share everything that obviously I didn't take into account and other stuff that may have happened since then. So I'll let you actually have the floor. And I don't really want to get into Variegate right now, except for the fact that I will say just yesterday we did announce that we are merging with RocketFi. There's no specific date, but it is in the very near future. There are just a couple other things that they'll be doing. So Variegate will be team-wise and token-wise merged in with RocketFi. So definitely very exciting time. Variegate as it stands for the Variegate protocol, how you know us, how you come to know us, what we represent, obviously with rewards, AMAs, and everything else will remain the same. Just the way it's presented, obviously, will be through the obviously umbrella of RocketFi itself. So just wanted to make everyone aware of that if you did not already know and hear that news, which was just announced yesterday. So thank you again. Welcome, ShadowFi.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. Well, first of all, congratulations on that. That's exciting news there. Variegate teaming up with Rockify. Two great teams, two great visions coming together. I'm sure we can all expect some bullish things coming out of that in the future. Awesome to see. But yes, thank you for having us. This is Taeris here, Chief Communications Officer for ShadowFi. We also have Ulysses with us here, our Chief Operations Officer, as well as Ennio tuning in here today as our CEO and founder. We have a few other members of the team, Olivia here as well, and some of the ShadowFi holders tuning in here as well. So yes, obviously with the last, what has it been here? What is today? We are on the 13th of September. Yes, so 12 days since pretty major event went down, of course, with our launch of ShadowFi, which was, of course, our rebrand from DKYC. Now, I'm sure anyone who's kind of kept up with the news knows that we were hacked by through an exploit in our code, and that hacker is still at large. Though we've provided a lot of information to try and help track this guy. We probably provide information to different cybersecurity experts through different large firms, and with the ultimate goal, hopefully catching this guy, because he did actually take into a project a few days ago for 1.2 million, and moving up his total hacking to date in over $3.3 million. Of course, he did hit us here for $300,000 of our liquidity. Now, since then, what's happened since then? Of course, after the hack, the first thing to do was to figure out what happened. Well, first of all, there was a error in our code that allowed an exploit that he utilized to push out the liquidity. So that's been pretty well known here now. We've owned up to it along with our development firm that we had hired, Avant-Garde. They've been very public alongside us with all of that, and we have now been working on correcting the issue. Now, not just correcting the issue, but also doing it in a very public way. I'm sure a lot of you here are familiar with the Unite DeFi group, specifically the Unite DeFi Lounge, Unite DeFi members of projects. Now, we put an APB in that channel to the tune of looking for any devs that would want to work on the fix of the code alongside us. We did have a few devs reach out, specifically Marshmallow Man and Karth have been working alongside Scott who's the one who worked on original development of our code from Avant-Garde. So they've been working together, looking at the code and developing basically a triple redundancy checks on everything that it does, kind of reworking a few of the things and how our ShadowStrike LP system, the true burn connected to our LP percentage system that we had developed and how it functions. Now, through all that here as well, we have been working with Certic. We contacted them basically right after the hack, and because they had posted up about the hack there, so we reached out to them. We had two Zoom meetings with their team, including their cybersecurity team, and looking at the issues and developing a path forward. So we have now, with alongside, like I said, Marshmallow Man, Karth, and Scott, our dev, alongside the team, have sent off our code to Certic to be audited very thoroughly, not rushed, and then come back through out of that and into a relaunch. Now, what the relaunch will look like here is everybody that held ShadowFi prior to the hack will be airdropped a 1-to-1 amount of tokens with no vesting going into this relaunch. Additionally, we did also give the option for any pre-sale buyers to take, of course, it would be at a loss, but to take a refund option, over-the-counter refund option. Although very few have taken that, a few have, and that's gone out extremely quickly, usually within 15 minutes of them making that claim. So we're basically, to round that all up, we're trying to do the very best in an obviously less than ideal situation. No one likes to have the project hacked. The hacker, again, he is still at large. We've informed other devs in the space of how he attacked our project, because it was actually a two-pronged attack. One of those attacks.
I was just sorry, Taeris, I was going to say the issue with the contract, was that just in the ShadowStrike then coding?
It was in portion of the ShadowStrike coding, yes, and how the how it interacts with the LP. Specifically, the burn function itself had an underscore before transfer, where an underscore should not have been.
Yeah, and I know I remember you on one of the voice chats, you were saying that through tracking him with what he did with you, that you had seen that he had done the previous kind of attack, and obviously he likes to take his money through Tornado Cash, and obviously missed it there. But seeing that he did it again right after was interesting as well, and it was kind of sad, obviously hearing like the jubilation and everything you guys had. We obviously had that AMA with you right before the launch initially, and then obviously you guys were having the pre-sale going on and everything else, and the public sale the next day, and just hearing the excitement turn into what it did. So I felt badly for you guys, and I know how much time you put into DKYC. So it is tough as being like someone that's on the outside too, obviously not super heavily invested, but having an investment. Just obviously the fear and like doubt that people have and like the intentions of people. But I in dealing with you guys, I'm kind of confused as to why everyone could just assume that that would be something. And this is me personally, this isn't a Variegate feeling, but just knowing that you worked so hard on the project, just to kind of have the mentality that you guys would do something at this point doesn't really make much sense to me. Just wanted to put that out there in public.
Thank you. I appreciate that sentiment. And I mean, it's a year plus of work of the team to get us to this point. And I mean, our token supports our utility. Again, our core utility being BUSD stablecoin spending on Visa cards without having to give personal information. Now, that is a completely separate system that does not necessarily connect to the token itself. However, we have looked at everything in a complete overhaul look from top to bottom to make sure that security is paramount. But however, our card system, again, our core utility, it's done a transaction at a time. It's not holding funds or anything like that. So it's a system that was built to scale and will scale, and has had a lot of work put into it to date. But even just right after the hack, we did go after the The roots as well. We contacted Binance. Binance did check for us to see if the hackers' wallet addresses were connected to Binance. There, we also contacted a couple other exchanges just to see if those wallet addresses were contacted or connected to any KYC information, if there's anything we could find. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We also did contact bscscan.com. BSC Scan, of course, the Binance Smart Chain itself. Got an automated response. I've continued to bug them for an actual real response that has not materialized. In addition to that, we have also noticed that not only was yes, we did have an error in our contract, but there was also another issue going on at the time through the PancakeSwap liquidity pool contract itself. That is the PancakeSwap contract. There is a skim function and a sync function that exists within that. And what the hacker was also able to do was by spamming the skim function through a botnet from around the world constantly, he was able to utilize that function in the PancakeSwap LP contract to skim off a bit of BNB during our burn processes as well, anytime the LP was moving there. So that has as well been corrected through a triple redundancy check on our end. We have informed a lot of swaps that do use Pancake LPs as part of their swaps, and it has shocked a few of them that existed. And they've had to actually go and look at their coding to make sure that they are improving their own security around that so that hackers are unable to utilize that, including making a statement to PancakeSwap in itself so that they can be aware. They have declined a response at this point, just through silence. They have not responded whatsoever, not even an automated response to me. However, we're going to continue pushing that front. The goal here is, through this unfortunate circumstance, show how we can do the right thing, relaunch, do it safely, correct our code, continue with our core utility, because it is a utility that is needed in DeFi, and not just let this fizzle. Make sure that we have a future for all of our holders and do it in a very smart, intelligent, and also very public way with a lot of communication through the community and the wider DeFi space, but as well to also see the DeFi space be strengthened from it, from actually making sure auditors are doing their due diligence. And when you have an audit company doing an audit, making sure they're actually checking things and not just taking your money and giving a green stamp on things. You know that has kind of brought a light onto the whole audit world. But then as well, of course, PancakeSwap LP skim issue that does exist. Why does it exist? And when will PancakeSwap fix that so that we don't have to just build in triple redundancy checks into our own contracts to correct a problem that they have on their end? So DeFi will improve. We're going to be part of that. And, we won't stop. We can't stop until we hit the top. Our team is laser focused moving forward. So at this point, I'd like to take any questions that anybody might have. But as well, Ulysses, if you have anything to add to that, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I know. In our own chat, we have been a little quiet. That's kind of twofold. One, it was very kind of mentally draining early on, uh, feeling all the questions and other comments that were coming through about what happened. But two, we've been extremely busy on the relaunch as well as our future systems. Just because it's been a couple days or well, almost up to 2 weeks now since the hack. We haven't been sitting on our laurels here. We've been constantly developing and pushing towards
Yeah,
our
and I think
contactless
one
payment
thing
app
that
and other solutions.
I was gonna say, I think you said too, like the whole point is you guys can't even launch that contract if you wanted to till the 21st at the earliest.
Yeah, well, that's directly from
Yeah.
our. We had a meeting with Certic this past Thursday morning, a video call with them, and basically they said due to the complexity of the code and the fact that they want to not only for our reputation but also for their reputation take the amount of time that is necessary to review the code and test it from all angles. And they said that there would be no earlier than around the 21st for their completion. And of course, we cannot launch onto the main net the contract until that is fully complete.
And I think it's easy too for people to sit there in the passenger seat and point fingers too. And we had this conversation earlier in our like private voice chat here. But I said it's one thing, especially the position you guys are in, where you are the face of the project, and I understand that. And it's one of those things where you have to field questions. Obviously, you still have questions I see popping in your Telegram, people asking you when they're going to have their DKYC exchanged for ShadowFi. So obviously, there are people that are that far out in the game that didn't even realize you already did the airdrop initially, and that that's going to happen again. We'll need to update the contract address, etc. But also just to sit there and like, you guys don't write the contract. Just like I'm not writing the contract for Variegate. Like we had an in-house developer that wrote that for us. So when it comes to anything like that, I don't have control over that stuff. As much as I would like to be the one that has that control and the oversight, I don't have the ability. I don't have the know-how to do it. So in your position, it's the same thing. You're reliant on the trust and ability of other people that are doing it for you. And when you're paying fees for that, obviously the expectation is a little elevated in that position. And when the product you're given is not obviously fulfilling that obligation or expectation, it's not something that you were responsible for, but at the same time, being the face of the product, you have to face the music for it. And so obviously you guys, I think, have done an exceptional job, and obviously taking that little break that you did, but you've been on voice chats. Anytime I've been over there, you've answered questions um, in a timely manner because someone's always in there to answer it. So I think you've done everything on your end to fulfill that end of the expectation. But to that point, like I said, you guys repping the product the way that you are in the project, you can't really do beyond what you have done at this point. And yeah, it does suck everything that happened, but it's one of those things where you could have just sat there, not done anything, just closed up shop and said, "Oh well, we can't do it." But even to your point too, like if I don't think you acknowledged as well what you're doing with the initial buy and sell fees until that's changed. If you want to update them, what you're going to be doing with the L fee for that.
Yeah, you're specifically referring to the relaunch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can definitely dive into that here. So when it comes to our relaunch, there's a few things here. Now, number one, through our pre-sale that we raised 1,100 BNB on that pre-sale. Now we have, like I mentioned before, offered a over-the-counter refund of 30% for anyone that was part of the pre-sale who would just like to exit now and not wait for the relaunch itself. That is still live, and we're not putting an end date on that. Just until we're just kind of waiting for Certic to kind of update us towards the end of their time frame before we stop the OTC option for pre-sellers. All of the remaining BNB from that 1,100 minus any OTC refunds, which so far has been a very few, will be going directly into liquidity for our relaunch. So that's number one. I'll get onto the relaunch here as well in just a moment, but additionally to that, the team had about 350 BNB available to us from the NFT sales of our DKYC NFTs, of course, which are not sold out, which will have utility going into ShadowFi, transitioning right into that. A portion of that is what is going to go pay for the Certic audit and other fees that are related to the relaunch itself. So that the pre-sale funds, those funds, they're all going directly into either refunds or liquidity. We're anticipating somewhere around 900 to 1,000 BNB going directly into liquidity, which should get us eventually similarly in price-wise to where we were before the hack. Of course, the hack ensued and was 1,060 BNB. Now, launch day specifics. So on launch day, we will be raising the normal tax above 6%. The buy tax is normally 6%, sell tax 6%. We're going to be raising the sell tax to 9%. Although we've had a few community members asking to raise that higher, we're still trying to stick with something that is reasonable. So raising that sell tax on the relaunch, that will 100% as well go into liquidity. The BUSD rewards that are, of course, 2% of our sell tax and 2% of our buy tax are also going to go directly into liquidity for the beginning of the launch. So higher sell tax for about 24 hours, and the BUSD rewards will be switched to LP initially, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. One more thing as well to note, the liquidity that we're going to be injecting into the project on the relaunch will not go all in at once. It's going to go in over a 7-day period. This is to protect the holders. This is to protect the holders' value of their investment to make sure that, yes, we do anticipate a large quantity of sales at the beginning, but we don't want that to affect the long-term viability of the project, nor the long-term value of our holders' bags. So that is the plan here for the relaunch. At the end of the 7 days, we should be looking at all the LP is injected in, the BUSD rewards are turned back into going to all the holders, and of course being to our normal sell tax and buy tax within around 24 hours after our relaunch.
Yeah, thanks for that information. It's kind of, pertinent to what's going on. And obviously, if anyone hasn't heard about the ShadowFi, obviously benefits and everything else, we don't need to rehash on here, but the previous AMA that we did, ShadowFi, that you can obviously pair together with this one and obviously know the full picture.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of go over a little bit here. I mean, again, our core utility is our card. Our ShadowFi Visa cards. I mean, our ShadowFi Visa cards allow BUSD stablecoin spending through a prepaid Visa card. One card can be claimed a day, and the maximum card value is $1,000. At the time of purchase, that US dollar value on the card translates to whatever your local currency is. So that means you can be off-ramping $365,000 a year through our system should you choose to. Now, initially on launch, just like on our launch, that of course, you know how that went on September 1st. However, regardless, 10,000 ShadowFi tokens will be required initially to access the cards. That will decrease down to not needing the cards whatsoever, or sorry, not needing the token whatsoever to be able to access the cards. However, when we remove the ShadowFi requirement of holding tokens, there is a fee to access the card for someone that's not holding the tokens. There's always a fee to access the card. Now that is mitigated, that is lowered by holding our token. So that's kind of where the value proposition comes in for our token itself in a very integral way to our card system there. Now as well, we talked before about our Shadow Strike LP function, and we did see a 0.8% burn of our total supply in a true burn, a reduction of total supply in the first 2 hours of trading. So moving forward, we know that system works, and it'll be working in a very essentially the same way, although we've kind of rebuilt it in how it functions, again with triple redundancy checks for complete security there. But we are anticipating a large burn happening, and especially those first few hours, first day, first week, and of course continuing on into the foreseeable future, which does increase the value of your bag as well. So holders of ShadowFi that got in on the pre-sale, that may have bought on our initial launch there before, of course, the hack ensued. Anyone holding ShadowFi moving forward has a massive value proposition to their holdings, and we're going to work our butts off moving forward to make sure that we are providing the highest quality product. That is our number one priority for all of our holders. Moving into quarter four, we are looking still at our contactless pay app that basically has not been really delayed much. We just haven't spent the past 2 weeks working on it right now because we've been working on this. So, coming up here, basically towards the end of this week, we can start working back on that specific product to still have it come out within Q4 2022 alongside reloadable cards.
Yeah, no, that's still obviously the same intentions are there, and the project goals haven't changed. So
Exactly. We're actually. I mean, I wouldn't say we're more focused, but I think we kind of are. I mean, I think through this, it's actually strengthened the team a little bit. Not that we weren't strong before, but we've really had to come together and work hard on communication and our value proposition and everything moving forward. So I think we're stronger for it. It's unfortunate what happened, but we're backing it with our intention, with our communication, with our hard work, dedication, our core utility, and of course funds.
all right, yeah. Ulysses, did you have anything else you want to add before we cut you off before? I apologize.
No, no, that's just the way Telegram voice chats work. Like there's a little bit of a lag when you try and like comment on something. It's perfectly fine. I didn't like take any notice to that. One of the extra things that's going to be coming on launch that I don't believe was talked about yet is going to be our donation contract, where you can become a supporter of the ShadowFi LP pool directly. There'll be a way to donate directly to the LP, and literally help every single holder in the fairest way possible. It's going to increase every holder's bag, and the way that will work is when somebody will go to donate LP, which we're looking at accepting BNB, BEP20 BNB, BEP20 BUSD, and ERC20 Ethereum. You can donate any of those funds. It'll go directly to our LP pool. And with the LP pool, it has to be paired 50-50 tokens to the wrapped BNB. So say you donate $100, essentially there's going to be a $50 buy on the chart for tokens, and the $50 tokens and $50 of wrapped BNB go into the LP pool. There's some additional surprises around this that we will get into closer to the launch.
Yeah, some positive fun related to that donation pool there. And again, this is something that was requested by members of the community. We had a lot of community feedback on so many different aspects of the project from members of the community, and a lot of support from them as well. We've really taken to heart a lot of the comments, suggestions, and etc. that have been made, and have tried to institute as many of those as we can in a fair way that helps every single holder. So that's one of them. There is that donation portal. So pretty excited about that. Again, our launch will be after the audit comes back from CertIC. Again, they're anticipating that coming back to us around September 21st. They, of course, did not give a specific date. That is just their anticipated date, but they're going to take all the time that is necessary. And of course, as well, if they come back to us and say, hey, we've actually, looking at this, you could increase the security here by doing X. We'll be taking the time necessary to do that in a very expedited time frame, putting that back to them and working through that. Their goal, as they mentioned to us, is to help improve everything in DeFi here, especially around security, but as well make it known that they're taking their time and due diligence with our contract for their own reputation as well as ours.
I got a question for you guys. You said that there's going to be a donation. Was that a separate contract?
Yes.
Or to yes.
Okay. Are you guys doing as much due diligence on that one as you are with the relaunch?
Oh, absolutely. Specific donation contract is it's simple. Okay. So it's not worth a multi-$1,000 CERTIC audit. But this has been in the works with our community devs that have been assisting with us, which was mentioned earlier. We have Marshmallow Man and Karth assisting. And really, it doesn't have any permissions on it. It calls a function that the base contract has, which is being audited, to make sure that that base function, that liquidity function, is completely secure. So really, it's just like an extra it's an extra layer on top of the base token contract that we are testing vigorously, and is ultimately a simple way that our members, our community, anyone outside the community can essentially assist from the exploited funds. Say you're in a rewards token and you're getting a ton of volume in there, and you have some extra funds, you could put it towards the LP project of somebody else, and receive something to go along with that.
Yeah, it's very simple. I mean, it's going to be taking those donated funds, like you said before, and buying some tokens, buying some BNB, throwing into liquidity. It's very simple, and it's in its scope. And again, triple redundancy checks are the name of the game here, because everything has to be absolutely safe. And again, checked by community devs, made public. These types of things. This is it. We're not. We cannot accept, of course, any issues at all moving forward. Not that we can accept any in the past either, but we are very public. Yes, there was a mistake in the code that allowed the exploit. I do want to turn some attention to the hacker herself, who is at large, who I would love to see caught and made to see justice through this too. And that's something I personally will not be stopping on, as well as making sure the PancakeSwap LP skim function is corrected by PancakeSwap eventually. I'm going to get more and more vocal about that as we move forward. But regardless, yes, our contracts will be 100% safe and tested and worked on by the community devs that we've invited to look at it as well.
And that's awesome. And I like looking back at everything. I think it's a good idea to, and I think this goes for anybody that ever thinks about creating a project. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and if there is just one flaw, and you have people investing, a lot of money can be lost. So I'm glad that you guys are doing that. Are you guys planning on launching both contracts simultaneously, or are you just going to roll out your V3 first? And then after that one is smoothly launched, then launching that one on top, or are you guys just doing it both at the same time?
It'll probably be the launch and then the other shortly after. Just keep everything smooth and everything in focus.
One of the goals with the donation contract is to not have any funds just sitting there.
Exactly.
In a wallet, and honestly, that's not the way the contract works. So can't technically exist before the token contract does. Now, we want to get that online as soon as possible. But in terms of order of operations, the token contract will be first.
Yeah. We can definitely field some questions, and if anything else comes to mind here, I think I've pretty much covered everything according to my notes here. But yeah, let's take any questions. Anybody has questions from the community, toss them out there. We're trying to provide simple answers, but also detailed answers to anyone's questions.
All right, so yeah, nobody has to raise hands. You guys can just come on up, just unmute yourselves. It's like that weird moment of silence.
Yeah, don't be shy.
It always takes one person to step up first before everybody else does.
You broke.
You can also ask in the main chat if you like there as well. I see Papa Giorgio. I see you at an open mic. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I got a question for you. So when are we gonna be able to get them debit cards?
Yeah, certainly. So that will be available on our relaunch here, pretty much right away. When I say that, probably within 1 to 3 hours after the launch of the token itself. Now you will need to initially hold 10,000 ShadowFi tokens on launch to be able to access those cards. But then again, you can spend BUSD on the Visa prepaid cards. You're allowed to get 1 card per day, and the maximum card value is $1,000 US. Again, that is paid for in BUSD stablecoin that you get from wherever you have it in crypto. If you have any earnings that you've made, some BNB or otherwise, just convert it to BUSD. You'll be able to spend it with the card worldwide. It is a system that has been tested by our previous project for 1 whole year. Buyer holders all over the world. We did $400,000 in volume over that basically testing and development year, and are now opening this wide up. But however, soon there will be no need to hold ShadowFi to access, though if you're not holding ShadowFi, there will be a fairly substantial fee that we'll be able to see people come in and buy the cards, spend the fee, and that'll kind of be a testing ground for people to buy it, test it out. But if they're going to be using it on a regular basis, it'll definitely make sense for them to hold ShadowFi token to reduce that cost of entry.
All right. Well, thank you for that explanation, man. Looking forward to it. This is game changing the project.
Thank you. We believe so as well. We know that something DeFi has needed for some time, especially here on the Binance Smart Chain. I mean, with this, you can do it right here on the Binance Smart Chain. You can go from BUSD stablecoin to real world spending in about 10 to 15 seconds through our platform. When we did have our launch on September 1st, we put the card system live at 90 minutes after launch, and the $1,000 and $100 cards, gosh, they went out like hotcakes. The amount of volume we saw in just that first little bit. So that's great. We anticipate seeing that again, and it's something that we want to be simple to access, easy to use, and built scalable all the way to the moon. ICB asking here, any plans on launching a P2E, like a play to earn? We do have our NFTs. Now, those are coming in from our previous project, DKYC. They'll be transitioning over to ShadowFi, and the option for those, as well as other options, but one of the core items for them is to be used for a stake to earn system. Now, when it comes to PTE, I'm assuming you're talking about like earning points or something like that with the cards. Oh, some game. We're not interested in developing a game. However, because our cards are Visa cards, they are a wonderful payment platform for other games in the metaverse, in the real world, and elsewhere. So that is definitely something there. But we're not interested in developing a game ourselves. We are focusing specifically on our product, and our product is our off ramping. We do have our NFTs that allow some earning potential through stake to earn. However, the NFTs as well will have a function to the card access in the future. So that's something we'll be talking about a little bit more after our launch there. But again, we want to make sure we're focusing on our core utility and not branching off to putting our development time into other things that may sound fun, but that's for other projects to work on. We're working on what we do best.
Awesome. Any more questions from anybody?
B asks here maybe some collaboration to use our Visa card facility for payments. Certainly, we have talked about collaborations with a number of different projects, and though some of those collaboration talks have been put on hold right now, we've kept an open discourse, just like we have with the community through the past few weeks here as well. So when it comes to our core utility, I think first of all, we need to get it back live, which we're looking at around sometime next week, depending on the audit from Certic. I'm not going to give an exact date, but however, it will launch and then it'll be used. We'll have data and be able to say, hey, this is working in this aspect. People are spending. It's great. Awesome. Again, it's something that's been working for a year. We're just actually opening up the access to it with a nice rebrand as well. I do want to note here, do look at our logo, the ShadowFi logo. How much does that speak to you in a tap to pay system? Maybe someone can throw their logo into the main chat here, but you have the S for ShadowFi in blue. Then you have the blue line behind it. That's the holders. That's your information that we're keeping secure. You don't need, by simply not even needing it in the first place. You do not need to give us personal details, 3D scans, addresses, or anything like that to access our cards. Your information stays secured just simply by not having to give it to anyone. And then, of course, the white line on the outside, the connection to the outside world, that simple tap to pay ShadowFi symbol, it really speaks to everything that we do. We put a lot of work into that before the launch of the token here.
Taeris, I just want to say that I forgot at the beginning, not to take away from ShadowFi at the moment, but I do want to say congrats to Josh and his wife and daughter for their new addition to the family. They just had a new baby girl yesterday. So unfortunately, Josh, I saw had to drop off at the beginning of this and wasn't able to listen to the whole thing, but just want to congratulate them from everyone in the community and say good luck, Josh, with the new one.
That's awesome. Congrats to Josh. The new little baby, no worries. If you're just had that event happen, which is a major life event, you should be spending all the time with family in that time. So that's great. Congratulations. Cool. Well, if there's any other questions, feel free to ask. I know we've been going for some time here. Again, trying to provide simple, clear answers to your questions, where our goal is to have open communication with our holders, with the wider DeFi community, and especially through the Unite DeFi Lounge, Unite DeFi groups, and Unite DeFi token projects that are part of all of that. Each of us has our part to play in the DeFi of the future, and we're doing our part. I know Variegate, along with Rockify, doing their part, as well as many other projects that are part of that. We're all working on a better future, and part of that does include security. It's an unfortunate thing that happened to us, but we can see it as a point where we can strengthen not only the security of our token, but the security of every token on the BSC through public awareness. And that's exactly what we'll be doing moving forward.
Very well said. That being said, too, anyone that's listening to this now, you think of some questions, obviously, in the next half hour, in the next few hours, you can easily hop into the ShadowFi Telegram. Someone will answer that question in a timely fashion for you. If you're listening to this as a podcast or on YouTube, same thing. Hop on over to their Telegram. Feel free to ask any questions you have about the project and obviously the community, if not obviously the communications people that are talking tonight, Taeris, Ulysses, they'll be able to help you out in that regard.
Certainly, and as well, if you have any one-on-one questions, my DMs are always open. I try and get to them on a daily basis, get everything cleared out. I often do get surges of them. However, again, just want to note my DMs are open, and as well, we have seen, as we usually do see, fake profiles of team members of our team or other teams out there. One thing I want to say is team members will never DM you first. You need to DM us if you want us to respond. We will not DM you first. Never give out your private details to anyone. That includes your private keys or any other personal information. That simply doesn't need to happen. And do not connect to any shady sites. Be safe in DeFi. Security is often in your own aspect, but also make sure you're doing your own research when it comes to projects. Look for how projects act. Look for how teams act. Yes, we've had, for example, a crisis, but I hope through our actions that we are providing a sense of calm and a sense of focus moving forward through what we're doing here at this point. We will relaunch. We will relaunch strong. And within that first week, the goal is to be trading somewhere in the realm of our previous market cap. And then, of course, shoot that all the way by then moving into a marketing phase after that. So let's stay bullish. Let's keep moving forward. And DeFi has a lot of growth to do, and we're in that growth period. Anyone investing during a growth period, you know what happens when more mass adoption comes in afterwards. That's where the money is made. So thanks for being here today.
Hey, two things real quick. There was one more question, and we have a giveaway, don't we?
Yes, we certainly do. Yeah, do not
All right.
do not go anywhere. We have a giveaway here up to 5,000 ShadowFi tokens. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Kryptonian wanted to know regarding the donation. Will the donor receive something in return for donating?
Yeah, so I mean, Ulysses did allude to that. That's something we're going to keep as a little bit of a surprise moving into towards the end of the week and into next week. So, short answer, yes. Long answer, stay tuned.
All right. Well, let's get into the giveaway. How you want to do it?
Ulysses, do you want to roll into that?
Sure. I believe I have 23 participants here, minus the EKYC staff, Variegate staff. I have you entered as well. If you do not want to be entered, just let me know. But what we're going to do is a little duck race.
Those who are tuning in during our lead up to September 1st, we did a number of these kind of fun duck races as was suggested by a member of our community, and people kind of stuck onto it. The duck memes ensued, and I kind of love it. It's a fun little thing we can do. So it'll be a little bit of a fun little duck race, and after that, we have a spin the wheel for the winner to win a amount of ShadowFi tokens up to 5,000 ShadowFi.
The Variegate team, I don't know if they are in disagreement, but if any of us win, why don't we just throw it towards the donation wallet or donation contract, I should say. That's what I'm for. They're not going to like me for saying that, but yeah, I'm up if I win. It just goes to the donation contract.
Cool.
Sounds good. All right, we got 45 seconds on the clock. People who have been here the entire time have been entered, and we're gonna head off. I'm gonna put my bet on this panda duck. Well, good luck to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, you walk away with some extra tokens.
And they're all.
Oh, there's a pirate duck. Love seeing that. Early on in the race, everybody's still kind of packed together. I see my panda back here. Just kind of chilling along, biding his time for the final leg of the race, the final sprint. Who has enough energy to reach the end? Right now, B is in the lead, but Rock is coming up fast. Oh no, Hayabusa! Hayabusa comes out of nowhere. The Dr. Duck.
I tried to throw a stick at Hayabusa so I could win, but hey, congrats.
As usual with our giveaways, if you do need to say something in the main chat here, just so we know you are present and human. There he is. Awesome. So now we have the spin the wheel here.
Okay.
I'll let you lead into that.
All right, I'm going to close my eyes. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Good luck, Hayabusa. See what you get almost. Almost to that NFT. Congratulations. An extra free 1,000 ShadowFi tokens. Will add into your wallet during the V2 launch. Make sure you get your wallet address over to Taeris, and we will add it to the list of node event tokens.
Awesome. Again, that's me here, Taeris. DM me Hayabusa, and I'll just need the wallet where you want that sent. And just a little disclaimer, of course, the tokens will not be sent until after our audit has returned. We've deployed on the mainnet. Of course, though, that will come to you before our relaunch. But other than that, thank you all so much for joining the AMA here today. We've talked about a lot of things, a lot of clarifications, some great questions, by the way. I love to see it. We're very excited here about the relaunch and seeing our card usage going back up again, and seeing people use the BUSD stablecoin for real world spending in seconds. That's the name of the game here. Whether or not that is flights and vacations or movie tickets, buying things on Amazon, going out for dinner, getting gas, groceries, paying bills, whatever you want to use it for, as long as a prepaid Visa card can be used for it, you can use these cards there. And that is worldwide, tested by our community all over the world. Thank you all so much for joining. If you guys have any other items to throw in here, feel free. But again,
just thanks a lot, guys, for joining. Appreciate it. Keep us updated with anything. We'll always post it in our chat and whatnot. And we wish you guys a successful relaunch. For anybody that did miss, we did announce earlier, it was said yesterday, we are merging with RocketFi. There's more details to come. And if you wish to hear more, just go ahead and re-listen to the AMA. So once again, thanks a lot, guys, for coming. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.